Okay, all right, so we're live, 11:05. I'm running around here, doing this, that, and the other thing. We are going to work on Dorothy today. Oh, first, I'm BC. This is Spirit Cars. We build hot rods, and we're working on Dorothy again. Before we get going on Dorothy, Kendall's been anxious. I'm anxious. Everybody's anxious. We're all anxious. It's all under control. No problems. Except, hopefully for everybody out there, it's okay. I was talking to my son about the supply chain thing. He's in the corporate world and understands that pretty well. And when what's happened, like what's just happened in the economy here, it's not a good thing. I mean, when you break down your supply chain, it screws things up. So I'm waiting on some parts here, and as soon as I get everything, I want to go full speed. But you can't go full speed when there's a supply chain issue, and it's somewhat of a concern, not for us. You know, our chickens are right in the supply chain. We eat our dinner, we got leftovers, we take our leftovers and make it a pile. Chickens are an awesome garbage disposal. You throw it out there, they get supplied their food, they do their thing, and they knock out an egg or two or three or whatever. We got our egg thing, we go down there, we get our eggs, got a supply of eggs, bring them in, put them in a little egg basket there, so that supply is going along, and then my wife gets the eggs out and makes some kind of casserole, egg casserole or omelet or thing, and so then we got that going on. The supply for the frying pan is good, and then it gets onto the table and we eat it, and I won't go on to where the supply goes on to after that. But anyway, that supply chain's working pretty good for us, so hopefully that continues in the rest of the country. We have had issues with 9-inch rear end gears and companies changing and stuff, and so anyway, we're working around it, we're working through it, and it's going to be a new thing, especially with the China thing. It'll work out good ultimately, but everybody just needs to be patient with each other. I'm not just saying that for excuses for us, but I'm saying it as a big whole. I think maybe it's a time we just kind of, it's all good, beautiful day, it's springtime. I know we're all chomping to get out. We've been blessed here. This area has pretty much, we aren't stupid. We're not, coughing and sneezing and spitting on each other, but at the same time, we haven't shut down either. We're doing, and pretty much this entire community has not shut down. The restaurants aren't open, but we're moving ahead. So the people that have shut down, they're gonna have a little longer haul to come out of this thing than we are. But we've been building hot rods. There's a bunch of people out there wanting to build hot rods. You can kind of see there's hot rods, and it ain't like they've been sitting here. There's hot rods coming and going all the time. We got the other building, and we got a brand new big other building that we're working on. Awesome. And move the turnkey stuff up there. I kind of saved the glass for this. I talked about the glass, put it in. I think I was cutting glass or doing last time on this one. So this is almost a two-parter. Somebody asked me by a comment, and do make the comments because we'll try to get back to it and answer the questions if possible. Okay, this glass has been cut for the back glass. It's pretty simple cut, straight. Make sure if you get any, don't let a line run so you want to crack through it, but it's good. They asked, well, how do you make a curve? You sand it or what do you do? And I remembered that like seconds before we started this, and I actually have, you can see this, I ran back to the glass department and grabbed this. I've already cut this. This is a windshield for like a 27, and do you see this? You can see that line, right? You can see I've cracked that line. Can you see all that bending? You just need to very, very carefully make sure when you crack that line, you're running it down the line, and then a lot of heat. Now, I'm going to put pressure on this thing. It's going to bind in the corners, obviously, so put a little more heat there, Just be cautious you don't break it, even after you get it broke here, which is a little tricky, that you don't break it after the fact, just by cutting through that plastic that's in the middle there. All right, I got the window glued in. I kind of left it for, so you can see, it's kind of hard to see through there, but I've started to trim it out a little bit. You can see it's all nasty here. But what I did on the outside, or on the inside here, you can see I'm started to trim it here. I just take a knife, and I come around with the knife. I better put my glasses on, otherwise I'll cut your paint there, Kendall. Or I'll stab myself in the eye if I'm not careful too, that could happen. So I run my knife along this edge, cut it clean there. Now I've put tape here, and I'll show you just in a second how important that tape is. But I put tape here, and as soon as I was all done with everything, I pulled that tape, so I've already got a clean line on my paint side. A safety razor is much better, but I couldn't find one, so I've got a razor blade that goes in a tool, so definitely be careful you don't cut yourself. This has got sharp edge on both sides. But I can just come across here now and cut and clean this out. And we'll clean it down. I'm not going to do all of that. You don't need to watch me do that, but I'm sure you get the idea on that. Now this is kind of a new product for us. On the Model A's, you can use a molding that's like you get, that would be a body side molding, because the window on a Model A is square, and then you just put a 45 in the corner, and it's double-sided tape on the back. Peel the tape, stick it on. You can get a chrome. And what gave me this idea, I'm sure it's been done in the hot rod world, but quite a long time ago, I was working on I think it was a Lamborghini Ferrari. I think it was a Lamborghini. And it was a big hit, and I had to take the windshield out and a bunch of stuff. The bling around the windshield was just a piece of, kind of like this, a piece of aluminum, cut out, polished, and just double-sided tape down and put in the seam. So it looked good on that car, and it works on these cars. So what I'll do next, after I clean everything up really nice, I mean, I'm not going to let it, I want the windshield clean. I won't leave any things dangling and try to go back under something. I'll put my double-sided tape on here. Looks like this one I've pushed in a little bit just to make it fit all the way around, but this will go ahead and fit the gap here. You can kind of see how it's going to fit in there. I'm not going to force it in or do it yet, but so that's clean. And then what I might do, I will probably do, let's say it that way. Once it's in, it's going to be pretty flush to the body. I'll take some tape, run a line with tape along the outside of the body, or right on the edge of where the window's going to be, or this frame's going to be. I'll run a piece of tape right along this edge, and then I'm going to take some urethane. I'll put it in there, and then with my finger I'm going to wipe that urethane real clean so I've got a good looking bead, and then I can pull the tape off both sides of it. There'll be no more scraping or anything like that, and it will just be a real clean flush mount windshield. And these, I've been accused of these things are being sales tools, and they are. Realistically, we sell cars, so you know we want to sell you a car, but we don't. It's not. What we enjoy doing is building people's dreams, but we got to make a profit and we got to make a living. We got to have a building here. So anyway, we've offered these now. We got one made for 34. We got it made for our 32.3 window. We got it made for a 32.5 window. So these are available. I have no idea how much they cost, but Josh would know all that. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put the back glass in.
Somebody asked, how serviceable is the windshield? Is there a possibility of damaging the fiberglass flange in removing the windshield?
Careful, there's a couple different tools. There's a cutting tool that's just a sharp edge. If you're familiar with glass at all, I may have one in my box, but you don't need to have me look for it. And you cut it in, you put it in there, it's got a handle on it, it's got a blade that comes around, and then it's got another handle with a little wire on it, and you can pull that along, and you can pull it through the urethane. The other way is you could take a piano wire, and it's virtually, it looks like a piano wire. You don't buy it as a piano wire. And there's two handles that you can put this wire into. There's an Allen set screw, you put that in. First you stick the wire, you get a hole cut through the urethane going from the inside of the car to the outside of the car. And then it's a two-person job. You basically saw back and forth and you go through with that. Maybe I gotta, let's see if I can find it real quick. I haven't done glass in such a long time. I don't even know. A tool, I mean, even that's a tool. I'm going to talk about this too here in a little while. This is not the way to have a toolbox. I opened it up to the shop many years ago and it's turned into, where's all my tools at? So it's not a shop box anymore. We're going to fix that. And we're going to talk about that in the danger zone part of this video. So anyway, there's an air tool that does the same thing. You can get it in there and it vibrates and it's got a little hook in there and you cut it. Be careful. Yes, you can cut the glass with the piano wire. You can cut the glass with the other one. Yes, you can, the fiberglass glass. No, you can't cut the glass, but you can crack it and break it. So if you're trying to pull a good windshield out of, say, a restoration kind of a car, or you want to pull your windshield out and reinstall it again, be very careful so you don't break the glass. That's easy to do. So we're going to stick some glass in. I got my back glass done. I'm taped off over here already. So you can see I'm taped off around here. So when I put my urethane in, it's going to squeeze out, but it's not going to get onto the paint here, hopefully. And I'm going to do this whole process, so you're just going to have to be patient and watch the whole thing if you want to see it. Otherwise, you get the idea. But once you start this is a quick set urethane. There's different types. Some are going to take a little longer. Definitely use a urethane. Don't use a butyl. Back in the old days, it was butyl and it was always soft. This stuff gets like, it stays rubbery, but it's very hard. Wipe it pretty quickly as soon as you can. Get the tape off pretty quickly as soon as you can, because once it hardens, it's a different animal. It's a different thing. You can probably catch me doing it in here first. I'm just going to run a bead right around the edge. I want to make sure I got enough so all the window is attached, and once you push it in, you'll see whatever air bubbles are in there. Make sure you take the pressure off it. It'll keep oozing out. And just a warning, if you tape it over, the urethane thing will last. If you don't, it'll cure all the way through. I don't know why or how it does that, but it does do that. Good caulking gun's not bad. They actually have this in air also, where you can just push a button and it comes out. I had one of those. Here's a good story. Back when I was doing some body work, so we were using seam sealer, same thing. And I forgot to put the hole in the thing. And I'm pushing, and I'm like, what the heck? It's not coming out. And all of a sudden, boom! It shot the entire tube out in a stream, in an arch. I had seam sealer stuck on my ceiling a little bit, seam sealer stuck on my ceiling a little bit. As it come down, some of it fell and started sticking on the wall. So it was this arch, kind of wherever it hit, stuck. It was awesome. I wouldn't do it again, but it was worth a one-time effort. So make sure you push the thing in here. It's got a cap on the back, and you can change them. So I got it all glued now. Got my glass cut to the right size. It's going to hold in place pretty well, but it potentially could slide. So once I get it in, I'm going to put a little bit of tape on it to try to keep it from sliding down. I just left it square. I got it out of the way. Eddie's got his upholstery, and you can see as I'm pushing it in now, how it's pushing out everywhere. Do be careful, because you can, I mean, there's a lot of flexing glass. You can flex this quite a bit, but if you try to push it too much in the middle and it's bending in the middle and you're not realizing it, trying to, you know, push this air out of here, you can crack it. I mean, it is possible, and it's pretty tight here. But what'll happen is, I'm just working it in. You can kind of see it worked out. If you're building a spirit car DIY, I know a couple guys are, and I've been following the spirit car owners and builders group on Facebook. What an awesome group. Some great builders out there and great owners, and so there's some real good suggestions. But this piece right here, this flat piece of fiberglass, if you've got a DIY car, you're putting that in there, just make sure that's flat, because your glass is going to be flat across that. When you put that in, you can clean all the edge in there with Bondo, bodywork it. It's super clean on the outside. But if when you put this in on that lip and you've got this dipped in like that, you're going to have a bigger gap with your urethane, you know, in one spot or the other. So, I mean, you can make it work. It's just not awesome. That will probably hold there, but I'm not going to take the chance. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a little tape, keep it from sliding down. This is pretty quick setting, not quick enough to, you know, really call it dry, but it's set enough to go in head. Now I can feel as I'm doing this, there's a couple areas here that I can just feel it's a little deeper than others. I want to make sure, especially on the outside here, that it's full. And I can always see it hasn't ooshed out as far on these areas. I didn't have as much urethane in that. Go ahead.
Same guy asked, toward the end, how does BC cut the tight curves on the top edge / corner of the glass? I saw him discuss the tight, gentle curve on the bottom.
You have to say that one more time.
Toward the end, how do you cut the tight curves on the top edge / corner of the glass?
How do I cut them?
Yeah.
Multiple cuts. So I don't make the curve too much. I'll straighten it out, and then I'll make another one, and then make another one. So you get, if it's a real tight turn, I would probably make this a cut across here, a cut across there, one this way, and then maybe one like that a little bit and one like that. And then we do have a sander, so you do sand it after the fact. So. A little bit more. You don't want to be disappointed when you're all done with the job and go, man, there was just that little bit there that I didn't get. And you can kind of tell it's starting to set up just slightly, and the more I play with it, it's not going to smooth as easy. So be very careful. You do anything with urethane, it's like it gets all over you. So as I pull it, I want to be real careful. I don't get any on the car. If you get it on the car, I wouldn't use a thinner or an acetone or something, but I would use like a pre-cleano, a wax and grease remover kind of a thing. That would work. Dead time, silence, we have no noise. Okay, so you can see it's pretty clean on the car. Pretty dirty on me, but it's pretty clean on the car on that edge. And when I take the razor blade and cut the outside of it, it's a good looking, I like a flush mount window. Now the cars did not come that way originally, but it's a clean, modern look. Again, there's no one right way to do it. There are wrong ways. It's the look that generally here at Spirit we do. We've done it other ways, but that would be your call. Unless there was some kind of a reason to do something else with a lift out window or something like that that somebody just had to have. I don't know, that would be it. So I think that's it for the car thing. Is that it? Can you think of, did that make any sense to you? You can go home and install windshield now. So when your tree falls on your car and breaks the windshield, just cut that puppy out, put some urethane on there, slap that puppy in, and you're good to go. Or if you build a hot rod, you can do it yourself. It's not that hard. Just, you may have to, if you've not cut glass before, you may go through a piece or two. It's, I know when I started doing it, the amount of pressure you put down on the glass itself, I mean, it's a sound kind of thing. Keep the glass clean, some oil on it. I wouldn't be afraid to cut that turn in it any more than that. I would probably, if I was going to cut a turn like this, I would probably come out this turn straight, this turn straighter, and then cut this on a third time around. Don't cut it around that corner though, just do it in with a marker. Don't make multiple cuts that you're not going to snap on that turn. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm going to say it again. Don't make this cut like this, all the way out here, like that, and then make this cut also, and then make this cut also, sorry, like this, all at one time, because trying to break that, it won't work. But if I cut this one first, cut this one next, and then see that little corner that's left on there, that piece will break out of there pretty easy. I'm guessing you can see all that on the camera. That should answer that question about sanding and cutting. Trigger zone, we're in the trigger zone. I got busted, you got busted. And we want to be very careful. We don't want to spam. We put these out all over the internet. They get shared, and I don't always pay attention to where they're getting shared. And we're putting this at the end, the trigger part, and we're getting some dislikes. So, which is probably a good thing. I never used to get any dislikes, so now I bet this is the section that we're getting the dislikes on. And there was one of the Facebook pages, and just so you know, don't post. We're not posting on the T-Bucketeers Facebook page now. Don't post it there. It's advertising. We got busted for that, and it is advertising in the trigger zone. I'm selling Jesus. It's my job. I'm selling Jesus. I actually thought about this morning. I got this magazine out. I'm ahead of the game, and I found out like minutes before we did the video why we can't go on. But this is just for you Christians out there, all you Christians, okay? Don't be offensive now. Careful. Don't be offensive. We're in Matthew. Probably 10 somewhere. Where do I want to be? There's a bunch of it here. So this was about pick up your cross and follow me. If you don't want to do that, it's not worthy of me. This is what I wanted to read right here though. So everyone who acknowledges me before men, I will also acknowledge before my Father, who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, I will also deny before my Father who is in heaven. So that's Matthew 10:33. You might want to read before and after. Don't take it out of context. But be careful. If you want to call yourself a Christian, you know, there's some rules to the game. And we got to be a little bold about it. This is what I was thinking about this morning, though. That other one was just kind of jumped up on me. Can you see this? You see these pictures? That's my toolbox when it was like the way it was supposed to be. That's my toolbox over there. I kept some cars on top because it's a Bel Air box. My tools were in order and they were there, and this is just a picture of an old nasty toolbox. Here's a sculpture we built. It's all out of tools. I call it the Tool Man. So he's busy about it. But I'm going to read you this. And this is actually a long time ago. I've got this magazine from 2002, the Christian Motorsports. It's not around anymore. But I used to write for them once in a while. And probably nobody knows this. Maybe a few people, but I told the publisher, okay, I'll write, but I'm not going to write under my name. Not that I'm embarrassed about it, but so he gave me a name. So this is by Chet Roberts. My name's Robert Chester, so he gave me this. So this is an article by Chet Roberts written back in 2002. Master Mechanics Tool Tech. It's pretty short, so bear with me here. The right tools in the master's hand and the tremendous potential of that combination is hard to comprehend. There's more to a 1,000 horsepower motor than just wanting to own one. It takes more than just desire to put a mere finish on a show car. You need to do more than just hope that your racing machine sticks to the track at 200 miles an hour. Each of these tasks takes skilled craftsmen with the proper tools to bring them into existence. In many ways, the really great experiences in life happen the same way. It takes the master craftsman moving the right tool in the right direction to create those moments that affect all of history. Have you ever traced the heritage of tools in your toolbox? Have you ever wondered about what a toolbox looked like 100 years ago? What about 1,000 years ago? For that matter, when did we start using tools anyway? The first tool ever used must have been just laying there, spoken into existence by the creator of all things. I wonder what God thought when he saw his creation, man, made in his own image, begin the process of creating something of his own. First using something from nature to accomplish the task at hand, then eventually using those early tools to make more advanced tools. Now look at us. We can fly like eagles without wings. We can talk around the world, around the globe, without even raising our voice. We can go to the bottom of the ocean without holding our breath. We can even see live events as they unfold on the other side of the world. This generation, oh my, what we've done. Have we begun to praise our own creativity and worship mankind as the creator of it all? Sometimes I wonder if our creative abilities have always been used as a tool for good, or do we use them for evil too? After all, that's all we are, tools in the master's hand. The only difference between us and the tools we use every day is that we can choose which master we will serve. It may be we as individuals are more like a toolbox, each of us having different skills and gifts. Sometimes the gift may be something as common as a half-inch socket, something that's in almost every toolbox. But just having the socket doesn't make it useful. Unless there's a ratchet, the socket won't work. Even if you have the right socket and a ratchet, it still might not work. The bolt you want to take out might be in tighter than the quality of your tool. Even if you have the right size socket, combined with the right size ratchet, both being equal tools, it doesn't mean you will be able to accomplish the task of removing a rusted bolt without breaking it. You may still need some assistance, such as penetrating oil or a torch. The whole point is to make you think about how deep your toolbox is. What kind of quality are your tools in? Are they clean and sharp or misplaced, rusty, long forgotten about? What kind of tool are you in the master's hands? Are you a knuckle buster, wrench, or are you like the favorite hammer of an old body man? Even though he has many others, he always seems to choose you first because you feel right in his hand. And I could go over to my toolbox. I'm an old body man, a metal guy. I had my favorite hammer. That's why the end of that was like that. We all have different skills. We all have different abilities. We're all part of the body. This morning as I was thinking about prayer, what am I doing today? What's my day today? It doesn't matter. I don't know what my day is. It's really irrelevant as long as I'm a tool in the master's hand. Use me for whatever you want. Here we are. But I assure you I will be bold about it. And if you want to dislike it, that's almost a badge of honor now, because we're reaching people that need to hear the good news, because this world is in a heap right now. Didn't mean to get too hard, too deep. That's all for me too. The glass is in. I'm getting excited about that. We're going to show you how to put the glass in the side doors too. That's pretty important. Tomorrow, I don't know what we're going to do. Today's Thursday, so we got one more day this week. Man, I'm anticipating parts coming in on this one, and when they do, there's a couple of us, we're going to get slamming on it and get it going. Other than that, we'll see y'all tomorrow.